Hey, who'd you talk to? What is going on? It's me, it's Mike Lepre, King Michael, here with LegitFantasySports.com. Tonight we have the Legit Paranormal with Buddy Thayer. So, like to bring on the show first, the Genius Kev. Genius, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling pretty good. I could probably feel a little bit better, but I'm very curious to see what Buddy has queued up for us.
You did bad with the parlay. The parlay's not coming through.
I don't want to talk about the Arizona Cardinals at all.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about the football team tonight. I hope there's some paranormal in their locker room before they come out. But speaking of that, let me introduce Buddy there. Buddy, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Glad to have you.
Open now.
What's that?
I'm choking like my dolphins. Hold on a second. Good Lord. All right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good now.
Yeah, that's Brother Ray is probably still somewhere crying in a corner about that game today. But
it was terrible.
So, Genius, I'm going to tell you this because I don't know if you know the full story. Buddy is someone who deals with the paranormal and people of the paranormal. So, had a conversation with him like about a week or two ago, and I mean, I think I was 20 minutes in where I was like, "You should host the show. Like, it just shouldn't be me. This should be you talking because this is like you got so much to go on." So, with that being said, Buddy, let's give us some of your like beginnings. Like, explain to us how you came to deal with
my beginnings.
Yes.
All right. So I grew up a student. You can name it. I grew up a student of history. I've always been fascinated by the past. I grew up like my father. Instead of telling me like nursery rhymes or tell me like about the Three Little Pigs, he'd tell me about the presidents. He'd tell me about the states. He'd tell me about history. So I was fascinated by the past from a very early age. And that I go to like historical places, either like on family vacations or even like on my own time. And every now and again at these historical places, or even like delivering pizza or like when I like work or delivering newspapers, I sometimes I get this like this feeling that I didn't necessarily know what it was. It started like almost as like it's a physical feeling. It was like a tingling. It started like in the back of my neck, started in my back, started in my chest. It was fear, though. It was like walking into a room and there's like 50 to 100 people sitting at tables eating, and everybody just stops and looks at you. It's just that awkward feeling, that weird feeling that I get every now and again, and I couldn't explain it. I couldn't really understand it. I never really associated it like I do now. Like now I'll associate it with like there's something, maybe a foot, maybe there's something off keel or off balance, something to throw off the pressure or the energy in the atmosphere.
So wait, hear me out. I do this a lot. I interrupt. That's what I do.
Go ahead.
So you're having this feeling of fear. Now, it's not the type of feeling where you want to run out of the room, but it sounds like it's more of the type of feeling. Like,
no, sometimes it is.
All right, but is it the same as that, or is it?
I remember. All right, so I remember being a kid. I delivered newspapers to like 100 houses. There was like 2 houses that one of them's at the tip of Dean Avenue. Near 44.
Wait, I'm calling. I can't stop that, but I'm just gonna Kev charge me one time out. All right. What I mean is it like walking into the room and seeing Brock Lesnar and being scared, like knowing not to bother it, or are you're like scared?
No, you're just doing what you're doing and getting these sudden like random like. Either you walk into a building, or you're in a building, or you're in somewhere that's either known to you to be haunted or not known to be haunted, or just you come to find out later on that it might be haunted. But it's I don't know. I've gotten it where I'm living now. I've gotten it here. I've gotten it at other places that I've investigated. I've gotten it in places that I haven't been investigating, where I was just kind of like doing my thing, and suddenly it kind of comes upon you. It's not predictable. It's not like you suddenly see something and then you experience that. But like, for example.
Yeah, start us off when you first started
let me give
feeling
you a
what was
great
going on.
example of this.
Yes.
I was investigating a bed and breakfast on Block Island. I'm not going to give you the name. I'll play you EVPs from it later on. But I went out a day before, and the owner gave me the keys, and she's like, "Go ahead, do it." It was in the middle of the winter time, so there's nobody out there at all. I go in with my wife. We walked around the whole building. Felt fine. My wife had experiences in this building when she lived on Block Island years before. Never had any experiences there. I had heard friends who had experiences. I kind of like let that be in the back of my head. I just kind of walked through the building. I did tests. Oh, I don't have my K2s over there. I'll go get it in a second. I walked around and I tested the magnetic fields that might be coming from wires, or that might be coming from inside the walls, that might be giving off these fields that cause that natural. These electromagnetic fields will naturally cause you to feel like paranoid, or like you're being watched, or like there's somebody else there, like you're not alone sometimes. This comes from like poorly insulated wires in old houses, or like poorly exposed, like badly exposed fuse boxes, or like if you're in a basement, for example. It's a lot of these wires that run above your head. This is the washer, the dryer, the fuse box, everything that could cause you potentially naturally to feel this way. I don't know where the hell I'm going with this. So anyway, I'm in this house. I'm testing all this stuff out, and everything's normal. Everything's fine. The wiring's fine. Everything looks fine. I'm walking through the whole house. I did the third floor, the second floor, the first floor. I get down to the first floor. I said to my wife, "Oh, wait a minute. I didn't go in the basement." So we go in the basement, and there are like chambers that were used by the maids and stuff. So the maids slept there, and I'm kind of sitting there. I go in one of them, walk all around with my equipment, test everything. Everything's fine. Walk into the next room. It's a double bedroom. So the first bedroom, nothing at all. Go into the second bedroom, and there's like a sliding glass door and a shelf. And on the shelf, you be a history guy, there's a Block Island, one of those books. Being from Rhode Island, you might have seen them. Like every town has like their own history book, and it's like a history of the town, the old pictures, the old buildings, all that shit. So I pick it up. I'm like, oh, let me look at this. So I'm sitting there. I'm the only person in this entire place. I'm looking at the book, feeling completely natural, completely at home. 1 minute, the next second, I feel like that sudden feeling comes upon me. I feel the tingles in my back. I feel the tingles in my neck. I feel the tightness in my chest. Like, I need to get the hell out of here. Like, I don't belong here. I'm not welcome here. I shouldn't be here. That sudden feeling like you're in trouble, like you're doing something wrong, like you realize that you're not where you should be. So I got up and out of there. I'm like, thank you for that. I realized that feeling. I recognize that feeling. I said, hey, thank you for that. I'll be back and I'll talk to you guys later. I put the book down and I ran upstairs and I took off.
All right. So one question.
And I went back the next day we investigated. But anyway.
Wait, Tom. So you get that feeling. When you left the room, did the feeling go away?
When I left the building, the feeling went away. As I walked up the stairs, it got heavier and heavier. It got like the more the need for me to get the fuck out of there. Excuse my French.
But once you were out, it was gone.
Yeah, it was gone.
Wow. Because what I was going to say is, and Genius, give me your opinion on this. It almost sounds like a panic attack. Like I'm going to be that's kind of how I am anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Bring the rationale. Bring the psychology.
But if it stopped the minute you left, to me, that would take away an actual panic attack, because you can't stop a panic attack.
It was immediate. It immediately
out of nowhere.
stopped.
It tingles, but it doesn't stop like that.
The physical effects, the physical effects, the need for me to suddenly get out of there, the need, the fear of somebody else, knowing that something else was there and not being able to see it and not being able to like really rationalize it in my own head, but knowing something was there was scary enough for me to want to leave. Why does it cause us such fear? Is my question to you, to the world. Why are ghosts so scary? Why is it their energy that makes us feel that way? I don't know. I can't answer my own question.
Can I ask a question first?
Please,
buddy, so I want to roll it back a little bit. Something you said that I thought was really, really interesting. You said there's some natural or electromagnetic charges or fields, whatever, that can make us feel like we're being watched. I hear about that feeling a lot. I've experienced that feeling. I didn't realize that there were some like electromagnetic things that could make you feel that way, because everyone always talks about that. As soon as someone says that, you think it's something paranormal. I had no idea.
Automatically say, "Oh, it's a ghost."
Yeah, I had no idea.
Always a ghost.
What?
Right, and that's what I do.
So what is it? what is it about the electric? Like, what causes that feeling? I've honestly never heard that before.
So, natural electric, like your cell phone. My K2 is on the other side of the room. Your cell phone will give it off. The fuse box will give it off. Poorly insulated old wiring will give it off. This heater next to me, which you can't see because it's out of the screen. This heater,
Right.
oh shit, I picked it up and it went off. Anyway,
Buddy,
the
it's my
computer
question.
will give it off. It's this natural field that's caused by anything electrically generated. Anything electric power source will give off a natural field. The field itself, you like alarm clocks are good for it, or like even ovens. The light, the clock on the stove will give off a high EMF field. Your alarm clock in your bedroom, old TVs in your bedroom will give off high EMF. It can cause you to have headaches. It can cause you to feel like a sensitivity, like they call it EMF sensitivity. Like there's somebody watching you, like you're feeling paranoid. Like you get like the chills almost, like you feel like someone's watching you, you know, all that shit, all that stuff that you would associate with being in a haunted house, but it's not a haunted house. It's just the natural electrical feel around you. Yeah.
Wait, but answer me this then. So here's what I need to know. At one point, did you take this feeling you were getting and line it up and match it up with it being paranormal? Like, in other words, I had this feeling, and who do you go to and they say, hey, by the way, that's a paranormal, and then you start to figure it out and hone in on it.
I won't say anything is 100% anything ever, because there's no actual way I can ever rationally measure
how did you get there?
But yeah, in that particular instance, so I measured the entire room. I did EMF readings of the entire room. There was nothing like, it wasn't like going anything above what it normally should be. It wasn't like outstanding amounts of EMF fields around these electrical wires, or around like these electrical appliances or the lamps or the any of that in the walls or any of that, for me to think that there might be some kind of what they call a bleeding, like an EMF bleed. So there might have been this higher energy field that would have caused me to feel that way. I felt none of that. I walked in there, I felt completely 100% comfortable. Like I should have been there. And I walked in there, I picked up this book and I just started reading it and I felt fine. I got like midway through, I was sitting there maybe 10 minutes and then bam, out of nowhere, suddenly there's just that, and I've had that feeling before, and I've experienced that feeling before where I've had that and then like captured paranormal, or captured maybe possible paranormal evidence, you know? So just that sudden, unexplained feeling that leads me to believe, okay, it's not electrical, it's not EMF that's causing this. What else could it be? I know I'm not mentally ill, so I'm going to rule that out. And then that's where we started our investigation that night. I got a number of EVPs, one really good one in particular. I don't know if I have it lined up, but I have some from Hygeia, from this bed and breakfast on Block Island that I did line up that are like some of my best of all time. But I'll get into that later.
Well, let me just ask this though as cleanly as I can. Let me get to the period at the end of the sentence, and then you guys can jump in on this. But let me just finish my thought before I lose this one. I'm trying to ask, at what point in your life did you take this feeling and put it together with paranormal, or have someone put you on the path to where it was investigating? Okay. Wait. Investigating of paranormal, and like this is what you're gonna investigate. You know what I'm trying to say? Like all of a sudden now you're.
This is what I'm gonna do.
Here's another thing about this. One thing about people that deal with paranormal that I don't like is don't keep saying, but I'm not. I can't be 100% sure. Because the thing is, we know you can't be 100% sure. Right. But if you think that it's that, at least say, in my opinion, I think it's a fucking whatever.
All right, in my opinion, I think it's a ghost.
Like, be positive with be strong with your opinion.
Let me tell you when I was positive, when I wanted to know more. And like, I think we had this conversation last time I talked to you, but in 2008, I won't go into such detail. In 2008, I had grown up and I had lived my life wanting to experience something, wanting to see something, wanting to, because I thought it was fascinating. I spent like my teenage years sometimes going out to these places like Mercy Brown, the Rhode Island Vampire, her grave, or Nellie Vaughan, I'm Waiting and Watching. I went to her grave. We went to, where else? The Lad School. We kind of went in there illegally a few times. all these different
As
places,
you do.
expecting, wanting to see something, to known places, going to known places that were known to be haunted, and trying to experience something, and never did. So I grew up and like, all right, it'd be cool, but until I actually see it, I'm a show me kind of guy. I want to see it. I want to experience it. Until I actually experience it, whatever, you know. So I ended up working at a group home, and people told me that it was haunted. People told me their experiences. I told them I didn't want to hear it. I'm here at third shift. Weird things would happen, and I would say it was anything else but that. I would say it was like the TV would go in the basement. It would be like really loud. All right, they left it on loud, and like an unknown like remote signal went through from the neighbor's house. Something. It would be anything but like the ghost turned it on. Or like I'd hear phantom footsteps going up the stairs. I'd get up, I'd run. I'd think it was a kid. All the kids were in bed. Nobody on the stairs. I'd run up the stairs. I open the doors. Nobody in the offices. Like, who the hell was that? Who did I just hear? I'd hear conversations in the next room. Get up. Check all the kids. All the kids are in bed. Nobody's. Who is that I'm hearing? There's nobody outside. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Who the hell am I hearing? When it finally came down to it, I had just gotten married, and I come back to work, and I was sitting in front of this doorway at night. It was this like corner bedroom in front of the bathroom and in front of the sink in the kitchen. And I was cleaning up for the morning routine, and every kid's. It was a children's group home. They're all DCYF kids, and some of them had sexual abuse, physical abuse. They had all sorts of issues at night. They'd get up at all hours of the night. And they all had bed alarms on them. And when a kid got up out of bed, when he sat up in bed, it started going off, doo, 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 doo. And you'd hear that until you shut it off, or until the kid got up out of bed and was away from the motion sensor. So I kept hearing this. I turn around, I face the doorway, and it's like from me, Christ, maybe 5 feet in front of me. I see the doorway, the black doorway. It's dark in the room. It's pretty dark where I'm at. There's a small light on. I see a shadowy figure coming out of the bedroom. It walks right. I'm like, oh, hey, Russ, thinking it's one of the kids. It wasn't a kid. It was about 5'6". It was shoulders, head, arms. It swayed. Like, I don't know if you guys can see me, but it walked right in front of me and walked here and went to about my 2 o'clock and was gone, and it took off. And it was like either it went so fast I couldn't see it, or it disappeared. I don't have a history of delusions. I don't have a history of hallucinations. I don't have a history of schizophrenia. I don't have a history of seeing things ever. I work in mental illness. I work in mental health. I've never had that experience. I've never had any of the other symptoms that go along with those symptoms. I don't hear voices, any of that stuff. So for that to happen like that, I was terrified, more terrified than I could possibly tell you. And I kept it to myself for about 6 to 8 weeks until I actually said something. But when I said something, people not only didn't think I was crazy, but completely understood where I was coming from and had very similar experiences to what I had. And one of the people that I talked to told me that I got to talk to them and tell them to leave me the hell alone and not to bother me. And they would stop. I'm like, you're crazy. You're nuts. I'm like, just talk to them. And she's like, yeah, just like talk to them. Like what? Like people. Just talk to them like people. So being the history guy that I am, I went to the local city hall and I did the historical research on the home and looked who it might have been. And there were 4 families. There were 4 owners. The owner was the group home that owned the home when I worked there. Before them, it was a couple that were partiers, and some of their friends worked for the group home. So they were still alive. Before that was a family with 3 children. All 3 children were still alive. The parents were in their 90s. They were all living in a nursing home. Everybody was still living. The first couple built the home in 1920. The Piranunzis, they were from Italy. They were immigrants. They immigrated here in 1917. They built a house in 1920. Ooh, Tom Brady just scored a touchdown. I lost my train of thought. They worked in the local mills. They built this home. They had like wood carvings. It was ornate. It was beautiful inside, all wood inside. And then they lost it at the last year of the Depression. Both of them died within 2 years of losing the house in 1939. They both died in 1941. And I'm like, who else would it be, right? So I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I guess I just got to do it then, right? And as crazy as it sounds, around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. One morning, I shut all the doors of this group home. I shut all the bedroom doors, and I stand in the middle of the kitchen, the center of all this activity that happens in this home. I'm like, Mr. and Mrs. Perry, this is a beautiful home. I love your home, and I'll do my best to keep it safe, but I'm not here for you. I'm here for the safety of these children, and that's all I care about. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. Sorry, but thank you. And I worked there for another 5 months, and I never had another experience in that home, which was weird. But then 4 months after that, it started. My grandmother passed away.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Okay. Go ahead.
You're also a really good guy because you didn't at any point turn to your coworkers and be like, why didn't you fucking tell me this? Like when I took the job,
they were telling me this. They all told me this. I'm like, I didn't want to hear it. I'm like,
when you heard it though, that didn't make you. You didn't stop to look for another job?
I wanted to ignore it. Mike, I ignored it until it slapped me right in the face, dude. Until it walked right out of that bedroom and slapped me in the face. It's like, holy shit. And I think that's why I was so terrified, is because like everything that I always believed just walked right in front of me. And I always told myself it wasn't true. Just walked right in front of me.
After that happened and everybody says to you, oh yeah, we know all about it, I would have been out the door. My ass would be looking for a job that night. James, give me your opinion on this one. Like, would you be there? Would you stay there?
Well, the thing I'm curious about is they all knew it, like you said, and was there anyone there that like didn't believe it? That was like, no, I don't believe it, or that was like there
were a few day people. There was a big guy from Texas, Dave. He didn't believe it. He was very conservative, very religious. He said it was bullshit, but like they were all different age groups. The person that I went to, the clinician, she was a social worker. She had a master's degree. I'm like, this lady's gonna think I'm nuts. And I told her the story. She's like, oh yeah, and she told me stories that she had. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, if she's experiencing this and she's saying it's real, then I want to say it's real. You know, if she's telling me I'm not crazy
that you stood there.
I got a story for you. And she tells me her own set of stories. So,
yeah, what I'm saying is you're a great guy for sticking that job out, because I'm telling you, honest to God, like I love taking. I used to work with kids. I love helping kids get along, but the minute I see a ghost and people confirm it, my ass is out the door. I'm gone.
Oh, it was scary. I was scared. No doubt about it. But once I addressed the issue. I'm like, at first, I swear to God, this woman was crazy. This was nuts. I'm like, this is stupid. This isn't going to work. And then it did. And then I moved on and kind of went on with my life. And then about 4 months later, May of 2009, so the following year, my grandmother passed away at home. She died at home. And immediately, within 3 days, things started happening. Now, my mother lived at the house, and my mother was terrified, as I was, but more so because she lived here. My mother's like super Catholic, raised not to question this, not to ask, and then it's happening right in front of her face. So she's like calling those ghost hunters that are on TV. Unfortunately, ghost hunters were very busy at the time and they didn't have the availability, but I did get a team in here. They investigated the house. They were able to capture some evidence that matched some of our own experiences. They were able to capture an EVP, an electro voice phenomena, which sounded like, ironically enough, like my grandmother. I know you just kind of lean towards that because that's what you want to hear. It just, I don't know. And they had some of the same experiences that we had, like there was a certain odor that we would smell all the time, and they had that same experience. They made us feel better, that like things weren't like, you think in your head when you first have a ghost or you think you have a haunting, that it's like the Exorcist, that my head's going to spin around, that I'm going to have projectile vomit, that like this evil being is going to take over my body and try and control me. All this Hollywood, this crazy shit that you see on TV, you're thinking the worst of everything. You have somebody come in and it's like, no, it's just a person. It's a person that like might have once lived here, and they're just kind of like hanging out because this is where they once were, and they just it's a person. That's all it is. It's just, you just got to talk. If they're bothering you, you're just going to say, hey, leave me alone. And
all right, so question.
9 times out of 10, they do.
Your grandmother passes away, and immediately your mom thinks that your grandmother is
not immediately. Her? No, she doesn't just think she's haunting. It starts with Now my parents are there's oil heat in the house, so my parents are wicked anal about it's got to be on 64. Where my grandmother was older and she kept it on 84. They'd find it like it was the day of the services. We were all in the house. It was May. It's like, wow, it's friggin' hot in here. It's like people saying to each other, like, wow, it's so hot. Why is it so hot in here? You can check the thermostat, and the thermostat is on 85.
Wow.
Okay, so maybe somebody bumped into it. It's above the couch. There's no way anybody would bump into it, but maybe, I don't know, maybe something happened. In the days that followed, in the weeks that followed, we would find it awful hot, and we'd turn and we look. The heat was coming out of the vents. You go and sure enough, and you look, and it'd be on like 84, 85 degrees. Then there was another time where my mother and my wife were out. They were planting flowers in the yard, and they were doing stuff. They kept running in and out of the house and stuff. And they were the only people there. And they come in the house at one point, and the stove, the front burner of the stove is on. Now, my grandmother had a stroke in August, the year before she died, and this is what kind of led to her illness and stuff. And at the time, she was cooking steak on the front burner, and she burned half the countertop. And that burner was on. It's not just like you press a button and the burner comes on. It's like you press it in, you hold it, tick, 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 and then it comes on. It's kind of weird that was on. Like the dog would have like weird, like she had a pug at the time, and when somebody would come in, the pug would like do circles around the people's seat and like jump and go crazy. And the pug would do this up and down the hallway. There'd be that one familiar smell, which was, honestly, when my grandmother was alive, I remember helping my mother to change her. I'd hold my grandmother up, and my mother would change her diaper, and that smell of urine, that smell of shit, that smell would like come out of nowhere and be like right in your face, and then be gone, and then be right in your face, and then be gone, stuff like that. Or my mother would be in bed, and she would hear footsteps in the hallway, and they'd get up, and there'd be nobody in the house. The doors would be locked. They'd hear voices in the kitchen. There'd be nobody there. So she felt super uneasy with all this.
So, buddy, that's what so question for you. Yeah. So you said your mother was kind of like afraid of it, but were you comfortable with it? Like, because you seem to have a little bit of a different perspective. Why was your mother afraid?
This was maybe about 6 to 9 months after my experiences at the group home. My mother was super uncomfortable with it because she was raised Catholic. They were raised just not to ask, not to wonder why. The power of God is supposed to be a mystery, right? So to have it like there in front of you was potentially against her religion, I guess you could say. So she was frightened. She was frightened because I don't know. I guess it's there's some scariness to it. I guess it Ghosts still that knowing and experiencing, like hearing ghost stories is one thing, and reading about ghost stories is one thing, but experiencing it firsthand is a little scarier. And I think
let's get. I want to be on track with you on here. I really do, because let's agree that, I guess we don't have to agree, but we're saying a ghost is a person that has passed but has not gone on. Apparently, they seem stuck to a location, right? That sometimes it is a reason, but sometimes there isn't a reason why they're there, right? Is that true or false? Like, is there always a reason they're there? Like, you have to solve something for them to go away?
No, I don't think there's no solution, I don't think, whatsoever. I think, honestly, they hang around by their own choice, their own volition, for whatever reason, whether they crossed over or not. Whatever you believe in, I don't know. Maybe it depends on one's own beliefs. But maybe it depends on, like, if you were a bad person here on Earth and you have guilt about crossing over, maybe you don't want to cross over. Maybe that's why you hang out still. Maybe, like I told you before, maybe you grew up and you knew and you loved the house and you raised a family and all your happiest memories were in that house, and that's your heaven, and that's where you want to be. Whether or not your family and everybody else is there with you, it's one thing or another, but
it just always seemed to me to be like they got stuck.
Maybe they choose to be there, maybe they come back. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know about crossing over. I don't know about heaven and hell. I don't know about any of that. Maybe they get stuck. Yeah, maybe they get stuck.
All right.
I don't think you have to tie something negative to it every time. That's
the thing. So it's not always a negative. That's what we're trying to get to. So it's not just a negative energy. Correct?
Right. No, I don't think it's negative at all. I think 99% of the cases I have are positive entities. It's kind of like
misunderstood. Is a lot? Is that what it is? A lot of misunderstandings.
I think it's a misunderstanding. I think it's people don't understand that initial feeling that you get that I described to you. It initially caused me fear. Even now it causes me fear. If I go into a place by myself and I start feeling that feelings, if I start experiencing stuff by myself, I'm legitimately scared. I have more courage with a team. That's why I have Ocean State Paranormal behind me. That and because they're rational and it's more it makes evidence and everything more concrete, and it's people that come from professional backgrounds. But I mean, I still have that fear occasionally going into a place, walking into a place, and you get that sudden feeling like something's not right or like there's something going on you that it just starts and I don't know. There's that fear behind it, definitely. For me, anyway. I know for people who don't especially when you don't expect it. I've had more experiences not investigating the paranormal than I have experiencing the paranormal, investigating the paranormal, and it's sudden and it's not expected, and it is scary.
Okay,
even though it's not evil.
So Ocean State Paranormal. Let me see if I got this right. You tell me when I'm done if I'm wrong. You guys are basically like paranormal investigators. People ask you to come to certain places to see if it's haunted, to see what you pick up, and to kind of get a reasoning or an idea of maybe why something might be there, what they're doing there. That's where the history comes in, I would believe. You do that studying, you put those together. It's almost like telling the person that, yes, you do have, say, maybe an entity here. We believe it may be, A, B, or C. And this would be the reasoning. Like, don't worry. Is it don't worry yourself, or we can help you get rid of it? Or what is like?
All right. So there's various different reasons why I or Ocean State Ocean State Paranormal would investigate a location. First, you have the residential cases where somebody will contact us and say, "Hey, look, we think we have something going on." Sometimes they'll have like footage. Sometimes they'll have video. Sometimes they'll have photographs. Sometimes they'll have personal experiences. We have a whole screening process that we go through over the phone or in person or Skype these days or Zoom, whatever. And we try and figure out what's might be happening or what they might be experiencing, whether it might be actual paranormal or maybe they have mental health issues, maybe they have drug issues, maybe they have something with their home, maybe it's something that like it's a loose pipe and it's rattling and it sounds like footsteps, maybe it's that, maybe it's something we can excuse, or maybe it's something that might be paranormal. So if we happen to think if we can excuse the rational stuff, like the pipes or the electrical, or like, oh my God, my basement creeps me out. Well, this is probably why your basement creeps you out with the wires and stuff. Or like they got mental health issues and that's some of the symptoms, and then maybe they're not diagnosed and they're experiencing that. I have somebody that I have a psychologist on my team.
So you rule out the person in the building.
Yeah.
Those are your first two things, your major.
If I can rule that stuff out in the initial screening process, and I got to look at it from more paranormal perspective, my next step is to investigate the history of the home and the history of the people that might have lived there, and the history of the people that live there now, which is a little bit more. I don't know. Like, you have anybody else in the family that died, or anybody you're close to that died? You have any personal effects of family members, stuff like that. But with the history of the home, history of the land, I go back as far as I possibly can, and basically look at like who lived there, what they did for a living. Essentially, because when we're on site, on the location, if I'm thinking ghosts, if I'm thinking like I want to talk to a spirit, what am I going to do? If I want to talk to Mike, right? If I think Mike's a spirit in this house that I'm in, what am I going to do to get Mike's attention? I'm going to like say things like, Mike was in a band. Mike was a lead singer. Mike, blah, blah, blah. This is about Mike. Mike from North Providence. Mike did sports stuff. This is all stuff that's going to get Mike's attention because this is stuff that Mike did. So Mike might come over, be more more
apt to talk.
to me if I'm talking about Mike, or if I'm saying, "Oh, Mike's a great guy," or "Thank you for letting me be in your home, sir. I'm not here to kick you out or to harm you or anything. I just want to kind of talk to you, to be respectful." Is another key that piece that we use. That's going to get your attention if you're a spirit, or I would think so. If you're a person, that's going to get your attention.
Yeah.
So we use methods like that. I'll take the obituary, or say somebody that lived there, and I'll take certain facts out of that obituary, and I'll ask, "Hey, is there anybody here that might have been a hockey coach? Is there anybody here that might have worked at Brown and Sharp? Or if the blah blah blah, any of the facts about that person?" And sometimes we get a response, and sometimes we don't.
All right, so let me ask you this then:
Good.
what you have as far as proof? And I know that's a funny word, but for example, you're looking to get what? And can you show us an example of what you're looking to get? What are you striving to, see if you can catch?
So we go through the first round of investigating. Whatever we capture, as far as say electro voice phenomena, EVPs, or anything on video, or anything. Personal experiences are tough because you can't really scientifically prove an anecdote. It's just somebody telling a story. But if I have something audio or something video that I can show the clients, they look, this is what we might have captured. This is what we believe is here. Who we believe is here. If we believe anything is here, it's benevolent. It's not going to hurt you. Blah blah blah. And we go from there. And what they want to do, if they want to know more, if they want us to investigate again, they want to bring in like a priest, a medium, somebody to do stage, a medium to maybe tell them exactly who's there and potentially why they're there. Not always 100%, obviously, but I can show you what I mean by like respect, or what I mean by like, oh shit, you can't see my, hold on. Wait, let me do share screen. Okay, can you see me? Can you see this? Can you see the Facebook? Can you see what say Paranormal?
Wait.
Oh,
Try it now. Nope, can't see it yet.
Okay, hold on. We go back to this. Share. Just share audio. Hold on. Share. Why did this work earlier and it's not working now? Okay. You see me? Do you see everything? Can you see anything?
No, I can't see you. Oh, wait. No, I know what I can do. Boom.
Yeah, there you go.
You see it? Okay.
I'm Iron Mike Sharp. All right, I'm ready.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah,
okay, so this is I'm gonna play this EVP piece. Now, hold on a second. I'm gonna pause this. Can you hear the completely obnoxious sounds and whatnot?
Almost like a horn, yeah.
The horn. Okay, so there's gonna be a horn, and I just did in the first like 20 cases that we investigated. I played this obnoxious bell and this horn and C sounds, and then it goes into the case. So this is a residential case. It's case number 2. It's like really my first residential case, and it was in Woonsocket. So it's a really interesting history. The house was built by a man named what was it? Oh, Jesus Christ, John. It's gonna say in the thing. Oh Christ, Smith. I think Captain.
How do you forget John Smith?
Yeah, Captain Smith, right? So it's this guy. Thank you, Mike. So
that's like my first guess. Smith.
This guy he was 12 years old. His father passed away. He took over the family farm. He tripled the profits of the farm. He was a dairy farmer, and he raised horses and whatnot. The Civil War broke out in 1861. He was one of the first 100 guys to join the first cavalry unit, first Rhode Island Cavalry. They saw a lot of fighting just before the Battle of Gettysburg. They ended up in the town. They took the town of Middleburg. They were looking for the rebel army, which was moving north. The rebel army was using the Shenandoah Mountains to kind of cover their movement north. So this guy's regiment of 280 guys went and they rode their horses. They found the Confederate cavalry led by Jeb Stuart, who's a general. He's a pretty flamboyant guy. He was having like a kind of like a ball. He was having like a socialite thing. They almost captured him and some of his generals. They ended up just barely getting away. They went back and they got 3,500 Confederates and went and they took the town of Middleburg the next day. So these guys were fighting for their lives, and 240 of them ended up getting killed or wounded. 40 of them survived. They were captured and they ended up getting away. But out of these 40 guys, this Captain Smith, he made it through this battle. He made it through this point of the Civil War, 2 years of intense fighting in the Civil War. He ended up being a clerk in Washington, D.C. He got promoted to captain. He was in D.C. when Lincoln was assassinated and saw there's memoirs in the Woonsocket Library of him seeing Lincoln's body lying in state and his experiences as an officer. And then when he came home, he established a bunch of schools in Woonsocket and helped Woonsocket transition between the town and the city and all this good stuff. All the immigration that came through Woonsocket, he helped educate a lot of these people. They ended up dying in 1920 of Bright's disease, which was because he was drinking unpasteurized milk, a really painful kidney disease from what I understand. But at the time, if you look at any newspaper clippings in 1920s, they're like 2 or 3 lines, and it's like even like the most important people like to get a paragraph. This guy had a whole page. He was like a pillar of the Woonsocket community. So anyway, long story short, I'm sitting in this bedroom of this guy's house, and the woman who called us in had seen like apparitions of an old man and an old woman in that bedroom. So it was me. It was this guy, Jared, who was holding the recorder. He was holding the camera. And it was this psychic, Alexis, who was with us on the investigation. So we're sitting there talking about what a cavalry officer would carry into battle. There's a second woman's voice heard saying bayonet, and then a man's voice saying what he says in this, and you'll see it, you'll hear it. So let me play this and show you what I mean. Oh yeah, with your I figure he had a musket, flintlock,
cavalry sword.
He was a captain, so he led a small brigade it'd be called a platoon. Nowadays, I don't believe they call it a platoon back. Okay, so did you hear that?
Yeah, wait, so who said
Did you see that?
That guy who said I did that wasn't in the room? Like
No.
He wasn't a real guy?
No, not at all. That was what I believe to be the spirit of Captain Smith.
Kev, you heard that, right? That and bayonet?
Yeah.
Voice that said bayonet. It's very lightly. It's bayonet, and then it's I did that.
It's like play it again.
Play it again. All right.
I want to hear it again.
Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I figure he had a musket, flintlock,
Cavalry sword.
He was a captain, so he led a small brigade it'd be called a platoon.
Oh yeah.
Nowadays, back then. All right.
So
do you hear that?
So buddy, sorry. So did you hear that at the time, or did you have to like record it and play the EVP later?
No, it's later on. I go back and I listen to it, and I heard it after the fact, and it completely blew me away. And I actually called a friend of mine who helped me with the history of that place. He's still in the military now, and that's probably one of his favorites to this day. It's just like this old man's voice that comes through. I did that, and it's just like, holy shit! Is this like Captain Smith talking to us? Probably. I don't know. It's not us. I'll tell you that.
So why did they call you into the house? First of all, like, were they afraid? Were they curious? Were they?
She had other paranormal groups in there before, and they captured some stuff, and she was still having experiences, and she had trouble getting in touch with that paranormal group, so she wanted to know more. She was really into the paranormal. She just happened to live in an apartment that had high activity, so she wasn't that scared. She just was a little anxious to know maybe more. Now in that house, in the basement of that house, they had objects that were this guy's. They had like a picture of this guy in his uniform when he came home from the service in 1865. They had a picture. They had like so this guy he raised horses. They had like horseshoes. They had the shoeing, how to shoe a horse. They had like different farm effects. They had his glasses, his spectacles. They had like 19th century spectacles, which was like, I don't know how much I buy into the whole. I do buy into a little bit of it. The whole attachment theory, how a spirit will attach himself to certain artifacts, to certain things. Maybe. If anything though, yeah, that house had a lot of it. They had just a lot of old effects that were just sitting in that basement for like over 100 years. It's crazy.
That's buddy, that's crazy. Like that was clear. So that's something you heard on the playback of it, right? That's not something like you heard.
I heard it on the playback.
Yeah, it's not a real time thing. Like you didn't real time hear someone say.
I've heard them live. And I've been with other people who have heard them live. In my last investigation, we have a male voice. It's just constant. Like you can hear it. People can hear it with their own ears. You walk around. I got out. I went outside the house. I walked around the whole house. Walked around the whole neighborhood. You can't hear anything outside. You go back in the house. You sit down, and he starts up again. It's like this guy's voice. You can hear it on audio. You can hear it. I don't have it tonight, but you can hear it. You don't know what he's saying, but you can hear this man's voice. Like, where is this coming from? And you can't pinpoint it.
I'll bring the screen back up that has your video. It was giving me that like woo.
Yeah, we're in the Matrix there for a little while.
Yeah, but really quick, I want to get your explanation for what I think happened. I was one time recently, within the last 2 years, driving home from an AAU basketball game. I had the center from my team in the front seat, and then I had my son with 2 or 3 other kids. I mean, we were packed. Mm-hmm. And these are like 16-year-olds who think they're tough. They just think they're tough. That's all they think. I ended up getting lost. I ended up going down like roads that I just shouldn't have been on. Like they weren't like big roads. We ended up in an area where there was like what do they call those dead ends? But there's like a loop or what's that classic term? Cul-de-sac. So we ended up in a cul-de-sac that was like, wow, like we're really lost. And over the radio, like there was a song playing, and the radio for some reason actually went like, and all you heard was a woman very politely, as if she was saying in a movie, well, you shouldn't put that there. And the look on the kid's face, now he's like 6'4", right? The center on my team, and the look on his face, the look of fear. And I saw it in his face. I'm like, oh, you heard that too. Like I wasn't just imagining that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because maybe I'm crazy. Who knows? Like, but I definitely thought I just heard a woman politely say, well, that put that there. Man, I get out of there as fast as possible. Now, is that an example of maybe because it seems like they're jumping frequencies to connect with us? Is that what we're saying?
That would be like an example of like what a spirit box is. So a spirit box will scan through radio frequencies. Mm-hmm. Without like actually tuning them into it. So it just will scan multiple frequencies. And these spirits will use these frequencies like multiple at a time to say like one thing. So it sounds like it's going through 15 to 20 different stations, but it's saying one thing through 15 to 20 stations. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
they kind of use like the white noise from what I understand to communicate at times, which is fascinating. I was really skeptical about the ghost box, and I have a really great ghost story I can tell that kind of sold me on the ghost box. I don't know. Like at first you think like this is bullshit. Somebody's making this up. Somebody's buying into this a little bit more than they should. And then you have an experience like I had, and then experiences since then. We've, since Christ, that was like 5-6 years ago. And since that time, we've experimented with it at different times, at different places. And that's like, results in some places and other places. Like, why did it say that? And how is it saying this person's name, like through 25 different stations that, like somebody that was like here like 100 years ago, why would it be coming through on the radio? Why would it be coming through on the AM stations running back that are scanning backwards? they're scanning through stations backwards, and it's coming backwards. So anything that's going to be coming through this is going to be coming through backwards, and it's coming through like clear English. And it just it's weird, but I'll show you what I mean. When I'm going to play this. My next video, it's if this loads up, okay, let me go back. Not this one again. Excuse for the cowbell. I don't mean to do that again. All right. So 10. This one here.
I like hearing the cowbell with the horn though, because it makes me know that okay, here it comes. It's my mental.
You know what to expect, but playing that. Oh Christ. Okay, so playing at like library events and stuff, people told me, "Oh my God, you hear that cowbell like 25 times in like an hour, and you want to like blow your brains out by the end of the presentation." But anyway, so we're in a home. We're in a duplex in Providence, and this guy had been telling me I had worked with this guy, and actually, you know, it's Bill Sutherland's cousin. All right. So you actually might know Rich, but Rich was living in this house in Providence. It was a duplex, and they were experiencing stuff on the first and second floor. And he had lived there for about 2 years. And so we went, I'm like, all right, I'll investigate. So I went in a few days before we went in and did a physical on-site investigation. And we were on the porch. We were talking about how it was a 3-bedroom duplex, right? So in the middle bedroom was always the baby's room, was always the infant's room. It was when the daughter was an infant, that was where she was. And when the son was an infant, that's where he is. That's where he is at this time of this video, at this clip. So they had always experienced like the rocking chair would rock on its own. People would walk in the room that were friends of theirs and would feel like the presence of this older woman that was in the room with them. She was either in the rocking chair or when they'd like lean over the crib, they'd feel like a presence of like a grandmother, like or like just an older woman, like a caring figure, just like leaning over and like that pride, that like, oh yeah, look at the baby, that's my baby, like just like they had that feeling. So I was in the apartment and we were talking about it, and I heard, I'm like, what's? He's like, you hear that? I'm like, yeah. What is that? He's like, come on. And we get up and we walk into the apartment. We walk into the infant's room. It's completely empty, and sure enough, that fucking rocking chair is moving.
Wow.
You like, how did this like? And I'm playing with it, and I'm looking at the floor, and the pitch of the floor is pretty straight. There's no pitch
breeze.
at all. What?
No
What's
breeze.
That?
No breeze.
No breeze. The windows are closed. The door, nothing. Yeah, there's no like real explanation for this thing to be full on moving. I'm like, all right, whatever. So we ended up a couple nights later. We went back. We investigated, and Rich stayed. We were in in that infant's room. We had the spirit box running, and we were talking. I was talking about former residents that lived in the home. It was a lot of Italian immigrants that was in Silver Lake. And I was talking about some of the residents that immigrated from Italy and stuff. And the spirit box said grandmother. And I'm sorry. It said Mary. Right. So this isn't that. This is after this happened. It said Mary. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. I'm like, there's no, like, I don't remember any Mary in the history. There's no Mary. I'm like, I was going through the names of the women there was a Maria. There's no Mary. And he's like, Rich was standing there. He's like, my grandma's name was Mary. I'm like, we start talking about it, and he started talking about his grandmother. And the spirit box, the next thing he says is grandmother. I'm like, oh, Jesus. And then so we start talking about it, and this is us talking about it when this clip opens. And there's a voice of a woman that comes through, and it's as clear as fucking day, and it's one of my best of all time. It's one of my top 10s. I'm gonna play it for you right now. So this is us. Here we go. Ready? No cowbell. Before you were married?
Oh God,
Yeah. Before I even knew Jess. No.
But the baby's good.
All right. So did you hear that voice? Did you hear that, guys?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That woman's voice, let the baby sleep. No, we put what we think it said.
So while that's happening,
that's clearly what I think he says is let the baby sleep.
True. All right, time out. Genius. Kev, go.
We didn't hear it.
Yes, but did you feel anything? Like, did you have that uncomfortable feeling, or is it just like something that got recorded and you heard it
I had
later? You
that.
know,
I had that uncomfortable feeling. I had that uncomfortable feeling most of the time I was in the house. It wasn't as strong. It will come and go, or it will be stronger in some moments than in others. It was present most of the time I was there. It wasn't like overwhelming, but it was there. And then it was more so present, I want to say, in that instance room, because I have about 6 or 7 EVPs, like just from that room, just from that woman's voice. Another one, one of the other investigators, his name was Jared, and he was experiencing like cold spots. He was sitting in the rocking chair.
Go
And he
back
was
to
just
her
feeling
again.
it. All right, let me play her again.
Yeah, play Jesus. Play that again.
Let the baby sleep again. Okay, here we go. Before you were married? Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Before I even knew Jess. Oh,
But the baby's good.
See, look, here's the thing with that. All right, here's what gets me. Now, it's tough to believe because it actually has bass to it. If you listen to her voice, it has that bottom end bass. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say to you, like it's resounding. What she's saying, you can hear the bottom of it. It's not just like a whisper that just kind of floats off into the air.
no, it's an actual voice.
Woman saying something. You can
Let
hear
the baby
bass.
sleep. You can hear all the syllables in her voice.
Yeah,
and everything she says. Yeah,
she's
sometimes
sticking
it's
the
like that.
ending of a word though. That's what makes it hard. It's hard to believe that that's not actually just a woman talking into the recorder.
Oh,
Kev, you know what I'm saying on this, Kev?
No, Mike, that's a great point. You may have found your second calling here with with the way you look at these things. I mean, what else? What's the other theory that it's somebody else saying it like off to the side somewhere that Buddy wasn't aware of? I mean, but it wasn't. You didn't hear it when you were there. You only heard it on the EVP, right?
No, we heard it after the fact. Yeah, review and evidence.
But that's the type of thing. Like, how do you? So how could you prove that to the people?
I can't really prove.
You know why? Because
I can't really prove anything.
Because that's so clear. Because it's so clear, it's harder to believe. If that makes any sense to you guys. Like if there was more jumbled up, maybe it wasn't said correctly, I'd be like, oh, maybe you caught something in like the electric, the magnetic fields. But it's so play it again. It's like perfect. It's
sure. Yeah, hold on.
Fucking clip. Right, Kevin, am I right?
It's a really good point. It's a very, very good point.
Word, the way the bass in her voice.
Before you were married? Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Before I even knew Jess. Oh.
But the baby's good.
I almost hear the echo of the room in her voice when she speaks. It's crazy.
And I've gotten the reverberation with certain EVPs, and where some are like clear as day. You don't have to amplify it at all. Which I'll play another one for you, which probably rounds up my other greatest hits. It's just some of them come through clear. Some of them come out, and it sounds like somebody's trapped in a vacuum and they're screaming at you, like, "Ooh!" But they're behind this like. It's like somebody trapped in a mason jar screaming at you, Sometimes it's like super faint and it's a whisper, like, or like
crazy.
I've gotten that before. But sometimes it's clear as you or I, and I can't tell you why it is 1 minute and not the other, or why it's one and not the next. I couldn't tell you. There's no rhyme or reason for it whatsoever.
Here's what I got.
This one here.
Here's what we got, buddy. Here's what we should do.
Sorry, hold on. Yep.
I'm like, what? We entered kind of the 2-minute warning. So what we'll do is on this is this. We'll end with one more video. You're gonna do this, which I think is great. Like when I told Kev about this, like this is such a great idea. You're gonna do this every Sunday. You're looking to go maybe 2 hours because you obviously could go 2 hours and eat. I mean, this was an hour. Yeah.
I got a lot of guests that I talked to. I got a lot of people that I'm going to bring on.
Plus, you still have even yet to tap into your stories. Like next week, I would love it if you dove into your methodology and broke that down for us, like your whole systematic way of you get hired, like what you. I wanted, like, you know what I mean, just that whole from soup to nuts again, just to break down that thing for everybody. Like, Genius Kev, what would you think about?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Like, I think we got into a little of that now, which was great, and I like the fact we hit some of the stories. But I think not like this is a great intro. I think next one is that's a good suggestion. King, we start break down like why would someone call Buddy? Where does he when he walks in the door? What's the first thing he does? Who does he have with him? What are the steps they take? What equipment do they use? Like, and then have the other things to support it, because these couple of clips were phenomenal. The I did that and let the baby sleep. The baby might sleep, but I'm probably not going to sleep. So.
Yeah, right. So, Buddy, seriously, like, this is going to be one of my favorite shows because it's. I mean, I'm talking sports nonstop, and to get to hear stuff like this, it's awesome because, like, I mean, it is. It's awesome.
I have videos. I have visual stuff too. It's not all audio. I have stuff that you can look at and say, and you can tell me how that happened, rather than like trying to explain it when you don't. You know what I'm saying? I have video stuff too.
Let's end with.
I'll give you my last.
Yeah,
my last one. Okay, is in the bed and breakfast on Block Island. So this was a 14-bedroom house. We started in the basement with the maid's quarters, where I felt weird that we had all that experience, and we worked our way up. So we got probably around 2:30 in the morning. You figure you're Block Island. It's when there's like 700 people that are on the island that because they live there. It's winter time. It's cold. There's nobody outside. We're tired. We're a little tired. I had been up all day. I'm a sarcastic person to begin with. So it's myself. It's this woman, Catherine, I was investigating at the time, and it's her husband. Scott was carrying around everything. Scott was a postal worker at the time, which not that matters, but Scott's a historian, so Scott's big on the history and the old school Victorian history and the pre-rev and stuff. So I walk in the room. Every room was named after a different family member that lived there. And there's one room, it was called Mama's room. I had friends that had stayed at this bed and breakfast that had experiences there. People had seen an old lady in there. People had heard an old woman's voice. People felt really weird in that room. So I walked in the room. I'm like, hey, let me talk to the old lady. Where's the old lady at? And Scott, the one thing Scott said all night, and it blows my mind to this day. He says, you got to remember who you're talking to. You got to know your target audience. He's like, you're figuring you're talking to a woman who was born pre-Civil War. She grew up and lived in the Victorian era. She died in the 30s. She knew nothing but respect. You got to be respectful. You got to treat her with respect. You got to say, hello, Mrs. Champlin. And that's where this picks up. So it says Scott saying, hello, Mrs. Champlin, and we have a response.
Hello, Mrs. Champlin.
Oh,
Did you get that?
Yeah.
That was pretty clear too. Again, and it sounds, if you listen to the voice itself, it kind of sounds like an older woman saying hello.
Well, I can actually hear the accent in the voice. See, that's what it is with me. It's the details. The devil's in those details. You can hear she sounds like she's pre-Civil War. Like she didn't have like an Italian voice. You know what I mean?
No.
It wasn't it wasn't British. Like hello. It wasn't like hello. It wasn't like, oh, guy. It was, yeah, it was like Civil War lady, like Genius. You hear what I'm hearing?
Yeah. I like the British accent, Mike. I don't think you're ever going to hear anybody sound like that. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
What I'm trying to say
Victorian, yeah.
With spirits, you got to be respectful. You got to treat them with respect. They're people. And how would you treat an older woman that was? You wouldn't say, "Hey, old lady." You'd say, "Hello, Mrs. So and So." You'd treat her. You'd address her with with her title, with her Mrs., with her Mister, whatever. Because your mother would slap the shit out of you if you didn't, and that's how you get your response. You get the best response with somebody who's alive. So that's kind of the approach that we use: is we treat them all with respect.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have anything else to add, bud? Like anything else you want to touch on before we go? Because I think that was a fantastic. Like we blew to an hour.
I could talk for 12 hours on this. So no, not right now. We've gone over the hour, and I'm satisfied with what I had to say. So I'm happy to come back next week and talk more ghosts.
Buddy's also a master in beer.
Yes. If I didn't drink too much beer today, I'd have a beer to share with you today, but I'll have beer next week. My stomach's not feeling the beer right now.
Every week. The Dolphins won't lose every day. You know what I mean?
They won't lose next week at all. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have plenty of beer to share.
Now I got to go downstairs and I just got to actually root for a team to lose. Like this is such an awful situation. You know what I mean? But so, buddy, thanks again. I don't know why I'm thanking you because this is going to be your show once you get this up and running. Like again, I can't wait to hear next week what we got. Guys, the legit fantasy sports.com is I love this video site. We're also getting the audio of this uploaded immediately to Anchor, also iTunes, Spotify. There's a couple others. So once it starts to grow like it's growing, this is going to be a lot of fun. And I think that's the basic. That's the base of all of this. Is I kind of want to have some fun, and I'm hoping you guys do too. Like this has been fun. Like it's a great experience. So Genius Kev, thank you again for tonight, buddy. Can't wait for Sunday night to be the buddy time. We just boom, listen to you go for like 120 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.